Hello, welcome to Microsoft Community Insights podcast, where we shared insights from community experts to stay up to date in Microsoft. I'm Nicholas, I'll be your host today. In this podcast, we will dive into Tech Journey. Before we get started, I want to remind you to follow us on social media so you never miss an episode, so you help us reach more amazing people like yourself. Today, we have an amazing special guest called Harjit Twalaaki. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Uh, can you can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, hey Nick. Thanks for having me on the show. My name is Harjit Dhaliwal, uh, and I'm based in Vermont, USA. So I work for Microsoft and former Microsoft MVP as well.
Okay, so before we get started, I'm just say happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everyone. So that's listening. Yes. So today's episode we're going to talk about Tech Journey, in particular with Project One. So before we get started, we want to just rewind the time, and just want to ask how do you get started in your tech journey into
Oh,
to find your role in Microsoft? When did
oh
it
my God.
started?
Yeah. So this is an interesting question. Uh, my tech journey started a long time ago, many moons ago, and basically I gotta thank
Yeah.
my brother who's not with me anymore, or
Yeah.
with us anymore. He introduced me to uh, computers back in the early '80s, right? The ones where you had to like boot up with a 5 1/4 floppy disk, right? And then you had to like, if you want to use a different program, you had to put a different disk in, stuff like that. That got me like really interested. Like, hey, what's this all about? Like, how come I'm seeing things move around on the screen and stuff? And long story short, went to college in Canada, and I migrated from Malaysia to Canada, and I started doing some computer programming classes. I've always been very curious about, you know, technology and things like that. I'm opening up radios. I'm opening up, all sorts of gadgets and stuff just to see how things work. I started. Eventually, I landed like I was in the hospitality industry. I worked in restaurants and things like that. But I eventually landed a very sweet gig where I traveled around the country, um, working for a hotel, a large hotel company, setting up
Okay.
computers at various hotels, right? Programming, teaching them, things like that. Then eventually, I ended up at a K to 12 school system. And for those of you that are outside of the US, you don't know what K to 12 is, it's basically kindergarten to high school, right? It
Okay.
covers all the grades. So I did everything, right? I did computer repairs to networking, pulling wires to sysadmin work and stuff like that. Uh, and then, long story, ended up in Microsoft. I was actually encouraged to apply to Microsoft, being a Microsoft MVP. Before that, um, you know, some people saw the potential and said, "Hey, you would be a good fit for Microsoft. We could really use your expertise and your experiences." And I was hesitant at first, to be honest with you. Right? It's you got
Yeah.
that the fear, right? Hey,
Yeah.
it's the cream of the
Yes.
crop that goes to Microsoft and stuff like that. So yeah, I was encouraged.
What was your first PC for tax at your
You
first
know,
role?
I can't remember it, but I remember it was in Malaysia and it was super expensive. I think my brother paid like 10 grand or something, $10,000 or something at that time.
Wow.
Um, and it was all, it's like the Matrix, right? It's all in like the
Yeah.
green, and it's all text based and things like that. You had a little bit of graphics, but they were all like that one dimensional things, stuff like that. I can't remember the name of it. But one of my modern, more modern first computers that I ever got was a Packet Bell. They don't exist anymore. And
It's like HP's in it now. I can tell.
maybe right. And but what excited me was that I was able to get on the internet with AOL
The old one.
with
That's
a
the modem, isn't it? Yeah.
right with a 14.4 baud modem. It was very interesting. I had some friends who used to play some games, like especially Duke Nukem, and we would play over the wire with 14.4, and it was amazing. It was It was great.
Okay, so how come it's cost that much? The PC, 10 grand.
I think it
Is
was
it for
so
gaming
new
as
at
well?
that time. It was so new. It was like a very niche market at that time. He must have gotten a loan or something from the bank and needed it for the business or something. But yeah, now you can buy them for price of a candy now.
Yeah. So what inspired you to pursue that path to Microsoft, like join Microsoft? Did someone recommend you to it since you're
Yeah.
active in the
So
community?
yeah, I had like the uh, customer success account managers or the account managers from Microsoft who I used to work
Okay.
at the university for almost 20 years. And this person used to come and say, hey, you should join Microsoft. I really, man, we need people like you and stuff like that. I had other people that recommend and put referrals and stuff like that for me too. But finding the right role was always a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of people would say, you know what, Microsoft's really hard to get in, which is
Yeah.
pretty pretty true. It's like try to get your foot in the door, like get something. But even then, you want to get a position that you can feel comfortable and do your best work. So
Yeah.
I joined Microsoft as a customer engineer. I've always been an IT pro, and customer engineers is what you call CSAs now, Cloud Solution Architects. They just renamed it. Um, so I joined that way. I was working with customers all the time, very large financial customers mostly. And then I've always been passionate about um, community and social media and the things that you see me do today. I've always been doing them, but not in a formal capacity, right? Um, and then there was a role that opened up. Someone internally said, "Hey, this role is made for you. Has your name all over it. You know, you should pursue it." And so I did, and that's where I am now.
Okay. So in throughout your career, is there any challenging moments that you think that you will go back and do better?
Oh boy,
Whether
that's that.
whether it's
This.
join another company or just aim for a different role or
Yeah, I think one of my. I'm not sure whether it's a challenge or not, but I had a few opportunities to join a company like Microsoft
yeah.
a few years before I actually joined. But like I said, I
Okay.
was very comfortable in my old position, right? You know
Yeah.
what time to go to work, you know what to do, you know how long it takes to get things done, things like that. The benefits were good. You're like, I've got a very comfortable position. And now going into something that's in an unknown and you don't know how it's going to work, it's scary. So I should have pursued that. Challenges, I think it's, uh, I don't know. For example, if you're talking about challenges within Microsoft, it's
Yeah.
it's a um, it's a huge company, right? We got over 200,000 people, that work for Microsoft. There's a lot of rules and policies and procedures. Like what people see in the outside is seems simple and nice, right? But we have a lot of protocols we have to follow. So you have to work with so many different teams and different people. Uh, that can be a challenge, right? But having the right connections and having the right relationships definitely help uh, make your life better.
Yeah. So you said, would you recommend if someone want to start their journey into tech career to always build relationship with people?
Absolutely, you have to. I think this day and age is all about. I won't say like who you know, or more than what you know. It's
Yeah.
really having advocates for you, right? You start somewhere, someone gets to like me and you, for example, right? As you and I build
Yeah.
our relationship, we get to know each other, and something will come up. I'm like, oh my god, I know this will be a good path for Nicholas to take, right? And I know already what you've been doing and things that you're passionate about. So it'll be easier for me to make recommendations. It doesn't have to be Microsoft, it could be another company, right?
Yeah.
Um, things like that. It's always good to have those relationships. Otherwise, you're an island on your own, right? Nobody knows you. You don't know anybody. Um, yeah.
So can you speak about how can someone get started to build those relationships
Uh, you know,
externally?
I'm, as you know, like I do a lot of community work, right?
Yeah.
For me, community is very important. I
Yeah.
love my IT pro community. You see me, I'm so passionate all the
Yeah.
time in chats and at events and things like that. Um, you have to come out of your shell. You know, people talk about being extroverts and introverts. Sure, we all have that, right? But at some point, you have to make the effort. You can't just have everything trying to come to you. You have to make that
Yeah.
effort too. So start small, right? Like start with social media. You know, maybe join like Blue Sky or maybe do a LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great place, right? Create a profile, put all your experiences in there, and then just start following people, you know, in your interest space. So if you're into, I don't know, Microsoft technologies, follow, and depending on what it is, right? You may be a Windows person, or you may be a
Yeah.
Intune person, or M365 or whatever. Follow those people and then just start seeing and then start engaging with them and then start sharing their things. And they start like, hey, this person seems to care about what I shared, what I say, and what I do. Let me see what they are all about. And then you start from there. You start building your network, right? And then it's just like a spoke, right? Like a wheel, and it just spreads and spreads and spreads. You know, you and I are a good case in point here, right? We didn't know each other before. I mean,
No.
we've known each other now for several months now, but last year I couldn't say that I knew you, and neither you knew me.
Yeah.
But somehow
With
through
the
our networking,
community, we met each other. Yeah.
exactly, exactly, and so networking is huge. You know, start from there, start baby steps. Social media is obviously you're going to be your entry point. Um, there's nothing wrong with it. Some people say, I don't like social media. Well, then we're in an internet world right now, internet age. There's no more sending postcards and letters to each other and things like that. This is how you do it. Uh, I get
And
people, to be honest with you, people that I don't know, especially when they are
yeah.
on LinkedIn, they will message me and say, "Hey, I noticed you are in this, you're doing this type of work, or you're in this role. I'm trying to pursue this. I'm just, I'm a recent graduate, or I'm going to be graduating soon, or whatever, or I've been to get some ideas or guide me or something like that." And I'm open to that, right?
Yeah.
So random people will reach you, and if they're legit and they have the right mindset and reasons, I don't mind being the mentor to give them that little push.
Direction. Yeah. Some people
Yeah,
just need to head into the right direction, whether
yeah.
it's advice.
We all started somewhere. At the end of the day, we all started somewhere, right? We didn't get to where we are today.
Yeah.
Like I said, I started from, I didn't even tell, like, when you asked me about my journey. One of my first really touched into technology was I was helping run the technology space in a very small scale in Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. You know, years ago. I was going to uh, like remote locations where you had to use like satellites and stuff like that to get some kind of connection so people can communicate.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
What was what was what was that like? Because it's gonna you said about satellite because I've
Yeah,
not heard
so
about that
this
before.
is a long time ago as well, and I was helping again. It was my brother's. He was running a business with a partner of his, and he said, "Hey, come
Yeah.
on down. I'll set you up. I just want you to run my office for me. And some field workers. He had like a small a group of, and then a lot of them were using Macs and things like that. But sometimes they needed to send. They're like, but there's no, you were using like hardwired, phone lines to, with modems and stuff like that. But then you were out in the remote locations, like, you know, in the timber, plantations and stuff like that, where you need to
Yeah.
communicate. So they had, like, at that time there was this like satellite kind of contraption that you could set up with one computer. You know, you almost like, it was expensive, but it did
Okay.
the job, right?
Yeah. So I just want to dive into the community things that you did. So I see you're quite active in the community. Can you share a bit more of what community work you've done and
So
and
I
why you're
do,
passionate about community?
yeah, like we talked about it earlier. I do a lot of MVP work for the community. As one of my other roles is, I'm a product group lead for Windows MVPs. So I manage that group as well for, renewals and admissions, and uh, giving them support and encouragement, or, things like that, right? So I do a lot of that kind of stuff. I mean, as a former MVP, I know how the system works, and I know
Yeah.
what it's like being on the other side of the equation, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, you should do more of this, because that's gonna, like, enhance you, or whatever. Or don't do this because that could get you into, a little bit of trouble and stuff. Um, Communities for me, I love going to events. I love, just engaging there, and people coming up and say, hey, thank you so much for putting such and such content out there that helped me with my company, or saved me some trouble and stuff like that. Or, hey, that blog post that you did, that was amazing. That's exactly what we were looking for. I
Yeah.
love your videos. Keep doing those videos, because I learned a few things from that.
I, I think it's the feedback because sometimes I get like great feedback from like message from
Exactly.
LinkedIn saying about your blog post. So that's my encouragement. So I
Yeah.
think it's all about the feedback to encourage people to do more,
Yeah.
encourage
I
yourself.
I think people like you and me are not doing it for any rewards or anything, like,
No.
oh, I'm gonna get, whatever, be a celebrity or anything like that. It's none of that stuff. It's just basically like, I've been there already. I know what it needs to happen. I know the struggles people have. And you know what? I also want to encourage and promote good stuff from other people, right? So if you're posting
Yeah.
something like this video, or blogs or content or whatever, I promote that stuff all the time, because it needs to have visibility. We need people
Yeah.
to see, hey, you may need something. This person just shared this stuff. This could come in handy for you, and then that builds that person's, uh, I don't know, vibe
Confidence
and
also?
stuff,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
them to do more, right? Things
Yeah.
like that. Community is important. It's really, really important, because from a Microsoft perspective, me being inside now, community is also helps build and guide the products and solutions that we have, right?
Yeah.
The feedback, like you said, is what I hear all the time. People are telling me, hey, I don't like this thing in, I don't know, whether it's Intune or whether it's Windows, or, oh, you know what? We could use more of this type of feature, whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I bring that feedback back in, internally. Talk to engineering, talk to the PMs and stuff like that. Hey, have you guys thought about this? Oh yeah, that's in the roadmap. Or, we are working on that. Or, give us more, give us a business case for it. Then I become like the conduit between the community and the tech creators, right? Um,
Okay. Yeah.
and also, like, I'm
So
also, expanding a little bit more. Like, I'm also very passionate about, accessibility features and accessibility things. Um, so a lot of people don't know about that stuff. So I try to use my abilities, or my platform, to share that with the community as well. Yeah, I think I
okay.
lost you a second
So
there, but it's okay.
yeah. Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I'm not sure what's wrong. So, how did you get started in the Microsoft space, the N365 space? Is it because of your role that lead you to Microsoft, so you end up be a join a role in Microsoft that does the 365, like Windows?
No, so that's interesting. Very interesting question. So when I joined Microsoft, I was a customer engineer, right? I was focused on
Okay.
things like config manager, Intune for the most part.
Yeah.
And then as I'm working in that space, because I've always been, I was a sysadmin before, right? So I did
Yeah.
everything, Windows clients to Windows servers and config manager, all that stuff, patch management, everything. So I was in that space, and then as I'm working with customers, and I started noticing there's some other very cool technologies that people are not dabbling in yet. For example, like universal print, right? Like, what is universal print? So I started like
Yeah,
helping
I'm
customers,
sure
right?
it is.
Have you guys looked into
Okay.
this? You're managing, 5 or 6 print servers with hundreds of, printers, and started
Okay.
like teaching them about it and stuff. And then that led me to other products as well. Um, and then now my role in marketing is cloud endpoints, mainly that I do from end to end. So Windows 365, Intune, Copilot, and anything that comes in between, right? Um, so I dabble in everything, really.
Okay. So throughout, since you're like a bit of each, like Windows, Office 365, or to the endpoint, is there any projects or achievement that you're really proud of during your journey?
There are a lot. uh,
Which one is the best? Which one is the best that you like recommend people like to get advice on?
so I would, honestly, I would encourage people to really look into Copilot, right? Um,
Yeah.
it's literally phenomenal. Like just using it on a daily basis to do so much that you can do. Like you can create images, you can create, you can ask questions, you can, it'll find things for you that is just mind blowing. My daughters actually, one of my daughters is still in college right now, finishing a nursing program, and she uses it all the time to do research and stuff for her nursing classes. Right? Um, you can create PowerPoint presentations and so on and so forth. I mean, the world is your oyster with this thing, right? You got to have an open mind and be curious about what it can do. Other projects that I've worked on, and obviously I had a hand in the launch of like Windows 11,
Okay.
and then Windows 11 22H2, 23H2, 24H2, so on and so forth. So I'm also very passionate about that space because Windows
Yeah.
has always been part of uh, my core area. Uh, and then now,
Do you think there's gonna be a Windows 12?
no
Because
way.
it's better enough. It's better enough on the Windows 7. Like
No,
lots of
it's
features.
Windows 11. That's as far as I know, it's Windows 11, and it just continues to be, you know, it's a
Better.
continuous innovation, right? Like
Yeah.
new features, new updates, new capabilities, and stuff like that. Um,
Okay. That's fine. So aside from work, what do you do in your spare time, Harjit? Do you have any hobbies, or do you just spend time with friends and families?
well, it's a catch-22 because everything that I do seems to relate to either my phone or
Yeah.
computers. Because if I'm not working, I do photography. Like I do
Okay.
Instagram. I love to do TikToks. I've been dabbling with TikTok videos recently. So when I travel, I try to capture some, travel videos, and then I put them together and share them out, kind of a thing. It's fun. Um, I Yeah, computers, photography. I love social media, so I'm always also like
Yeah.
dabbling with all the new things. Like lately, it's Blue Sky. So hey, what's Blue Sky all
Yeah.
about? How does it work? oh yeah, it's missing some features. It's going to get there, but let's things like that. Um, so social media, photography. I make those model planes. Those.
Model planes?
Yeah, I have some back here. Maybe I'm not sure whether you can see it, but uh,
Wow, okay. Did you use a 3D printer for that or something?
no. This you buy a kit, right? You buy a
Oh, is it like a Lego or?
no, it's not even a Lego.
Oh,
They
okay.
call it ethics. So
Oh,
you
okay.
basically come in little pieces with a diagram, and then you gotta like, okay, part one, you gotta glue it to part two, and then you paint it,
Ah, yeah,
and then
you need to
part
be more
three.
accurate for that. Yeah,
Oh, you gotta be
precise.
super accurate. So I make those as well. Once in a while. I just, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So, uh, are you going to any other events in the future?
Yes, for sure. I'm planning to. I'm not sure how many events I'll get to go next year, but I'm definitely going to start with MVP Summit. I'll see you there.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll be in March. I'm hoping to do Microsoft the Endpoint Summit in Paris, MMS in Minneapolis, um, and then so on and so forth for the rest of the year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So, which one do you think is the best conference? So,
Oh my
just
God.
between me and you.
They're all unique in their own way.
Yeah,
Each it's very interesting. Like MVP Summit is very obviously very MVP focused. So you have
yeah,
the technology diehards and the content and the what you get out of there is obviously super NDA.
yeah.
So
I pretty much go for the social aspect.
it is right.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing is that a lot of things that you learn and hear, you can't talk about it. So you're like, okay, now
Nah,
it's all in your small, circle of
bubble. Yeah,
people bubble. So everything is different. I love MMS. I've always been part of MMS a long time. It's got a different vibe, very community focused, very very generous, and uh, you got the cream of the crop that go there too, right? You got the best of the best IT pro speakers or MVPs. You got the Microsoft engineering folks that go there as well. Then you have things like you got Ninja Summit, which is different, right? It's the same.
yeah.
You almost have like the similar type of IT pros, but the audience is different, right? You got the European audience versus the North American audience. So how
Okay.
they communicate and understand you is different, right? So I could be speaking at a session. I could do the same session at this conference in the US versus the one
Yeah.
in the Europe, and I'll get different reaction. I
Okay.
may say a joke and then I'll just get like, something
Yeah.
like that.
Different culture. Different
Different
culture
culture,
there.
right? So you got to know how to balance that and stuff. But they're all unique. They all bring different things to it. Um,
Yeah. Because
Ignite is awesome.
I saw something about the tech night. Was that ages ago? Tech head.
TechEd was actually Ignite.
Oh, okay.
So TechEd used to be, yeah, very technical for many many years, and then that became Ignite, as you know today. So Ignite is
Yeah.
also one of my favorites because it's big, it's huge. You got a
Yeah.
lot of like vendors. You get to talk to a lot of people. For me, like you said, right, it's all about the the community engagements, right? You know, you can go to sessions and stuff. There's some sessions you want to
Yeah.
go to, but you can always get that later on too.
Yeah.
But you never get
Majority
that,
of it,
right?
majority of the session at Ignite was recorded, so I pretty much spent the time catching up with people in the community because
Because
you
you
couldn't
don't
watch
do
it
it
again.
right in person. So now's
Yeah.
your opportunity, right? You hang out, you go for drinks, or you go get a coffee.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go get lunch. And then evening you have your social events. You're mingling, you're getting to know people of who they are and how they are in their elements, right? Versus when you are like just meeting them online and stuff. Everybody has a god and a persona and stuff. But when you see them real life and you talk to them, you pull them aside, you're like, hey, how's your family? What you do? This, that. What did you like about this? How was your day today? Like, oh, I went to this one thing today and that really sucked. Oh, tell me more about it, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's quite cool. So before we wrap up the episode, is there any last minute advice that you recommend people for getting started in their career or anything in general? I know you mentioned something about learning AI because that's hot in the market at the moment.
It is hot in the market, right? So yeah, definitely have curiosity. Be curious about all the different things you're seeing out there and stuff like that. Doesn't matter what it is, right? I mean, I've always been a Microsoft fanboy, so that's why I'm
Yeah,
into the space. I like what I see. I like what it did for me. I like what it does for my community and the world, right? But it could be anything. You could stick with another platform or whatever that you're passionate about.
yeah,
Technology is evolving so fast on a daily basis. What we know from last week is already different this week, right? So you always have to make sure, like, oh, just because you played with something and you read up on it, you're good to go. No, you're not. You got to keep up on it. This is why you got to stick with um, social media to try to get the right information coming to you. You got to follow newsletters. You got to follow videos like this, right? Um, to like, oh, I didn't know about that. Let me go check up on what that's all about. What are these guys talking about and stuff like that. Be curious. Be
yeah,
open-minded. Don't take criticism well, right? Constructive criticism is very good for everybody. Don't get emotional, right?
yeah.
you
Because
know,
people negative feedback is good feedback at the end of the day because you're still improving yourself.
you're still
So
improving
I want
yourself,
to add,
right?
yeah,
Yeah. You know,
I
you
want
you
to
need
add to I want to add something. Always be consistent in what you do, and if you can't find what you're good at, like your passion, try different things. And you cannot always know everything, to be honest, because it's technology moving
100%.
too fast.
You cannot know everything. And then, lastly, I would say try to find your tribe, meaning that find your little bubble. Start with one person.
Yeah,
Find that one person, whether it's you, me, whoever it is, right? Connect with someone, whether it's in person. From there, you're going to expand your reach. You're going to expand your network, and then you're going to create a small bubble. I have small bubbles of friends as well that we communicate
yeah,
different things in different bubbles. Um, and that's how you get started. And that's how you ask for. Never be afraid to ask for help. Never be afraid to ask for support. you know, that's what we're all here for, right? Um, it's
yeah.
yeah,
End of
reach
the day,
out,
we're just all learning from each other in a way because we
hundred
can't
percent.
know everything, and we just improve each other to get
Yeah,
each other better.
yeah. Let's learn and grow together. That's
Yeah. So, Harjit, thanks for joining this episode. Brilliant
yeah.
to have you.
Thank
And
you.
uh, Merry Christmas again, everyone, and Happy New Year. So it's coming soon. So see you to the next episode. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy New Year.